Hi all. So today I wanted to talk in this short video just to show you how to use DBeaver to connect to another type of database. We've been talking so far about, and we've used MariaDB, which is in fact a binary equivalent and compatible with MySQL. But today I want to talk about how we can use DBeaver to talk to another very popular database system, this one being SQLite. If you haven't heard of SQLite, in fact, probably good to pull up the website here. Right, so, here it is. The thing about SQLite is notice, it's self-contained, high reliability, embedded, full-feature public domain. The main parts there, self-contained and embedded, that's actually really important. It shows a lot of why SQLite is actually used where it is in the places that it's used. A good example of this is the Android operating system. So if you have an Android phone, then SQLite is actually already on that phone, working behind the scenes as the database engine for doing relational database types of tasks for apps and so forth. So it is definitely, here they claim it's the most used data engine in the world. I'm not sure about, we can click on the link, see. Yeah, so you can see, again, here's, whoop, sorry about that. There we go. So you can see all the different things that actually seem to use this and so forth. So there are a lot of programs, popular things out there that do in fact make use of SQLite. What's cool about using it from DBeaver is that actually, as long as you have DBeaver, you're pretty much all set. The main thing is to create your SQLite database and download the drivers. In another video, what I'll show you is how to interact directly with that or things like that outside of DBeaver and so forth. But like I said, you don't actually need much beyond DBeaver to make this happen. Okay, so you can see actually I already have SQLite databases here under my databases list, but I've actually gone ahead and gotten rid of the driver, so you can get something that looks much more like what you'll see when you go through this. Okay, so just like any other database connections, we're just going to come and we're going to do a file new. Right, and we're going to just kind of come under, a lot of times you'll see this'll just pop up like this. So you'll want to spin open DBeaver, you want a database connection, and click Next. Okay, then, of course, you have your whole list of various things. Most likely in your list, you'll actually see SQLite listed down here. Since I do actually have a couple of SQLite databases, it's appearing up near the top for mine. But nevertheless, you can scroll down and get that. So select SQLite, click Next. Now, one of the things that's actually different about SQLite, and it gets to that whole embedded nature, unlike, for instance, MariaDB, where, yeah, it's sitting somewhere, the actual database you create is sitting somewhere on the disk, most likely actually probably spread across a couple of files. With SQLite, there's actually only going to be one file. And that file is itself going to be the database. Okay, so unlike MariaDB and MySQL, where you can have multiple databases with for that particular server, with SQLite, you simply have basically a file that contains a database. Okay, so all I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go to Browse, and I'm just going to go to someplace. I'm going to go to Courses. I'm going to go into my Databases folder here, and I'm just going to create something. I'll call it Hello. Now, there isn't exactly a standard or an expected extension for SQLite. In terms of what's out there, sometimes you'll see people just do this .db. You'll also see people do this SQLite. Some will even do something like that. SQLite 3. It's a little less common. SQLite 3, that's the latest version. But yeah, those are sort of the file extensions that you'll see. But again, you can actually choose whatever you want. You could do hello.foo, etc. I'm going to use SQLite. I kind of like that one. And so I will create that. I'm not setting a username or password on this. There isn't anything like that set up, etc. And I just want to show you just beforehand. Let me show you that. Here is that folder, right? Notice there is no such file created right now. So if I come back over here, I'm going to click Next, and it kind of comes through all of this. I'm going to click Finish. Actually, it should have prompted me for not having the driver. If you do get something saying you need to just go ahead and click Download the driver. Oh, here we go. Yes, so now when I try to connect, it's asking me, telling me, hey, I don't have the driver. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and click Download, and it's that simple. Okay, so there I've connected to that database. Now, unlike MySQL, where typically there's already some stuff in there, especially with XAMPP. I mean, XAMPP builds in a lot of stuff because it has the test databases, it has the PHP MyAdmin functionality, all those things actually requires tables in the database. Here, we actually have nothing, right? Notice, no table, no view, no indices. If I go over to databases, I do finally have a file. It's empty, but it's a file nonetheless, right? There's my hello-sql.lite. And so now once I have that, I can certainly do things like create the database and so forth, right? So if I just come, for instance, here and do a SQL editor, I could do something like create table, right? And then I could just give it a some sort of name. I could just say, you know, again, like the parrots table that we've done in the past. And, you know, so then again, you know, I could have name, which is a varchar, right, of whatever, 25. And we could have a species, again, a varchar. Let's make it even longer. Let's make it like, 60, fine. And int, the other way, age, int. Okay. And so then I'm going to go ahead and run this with our usual Control-Enter, and you see that that in fact ran. If I refresh this over here, we see there is the parrots table. Okay. So and again, if we actually look over here, we see, oh yeah, in fact it has actually written some data. We can even open this up in a text editor if we really wanted to, although you can see that while there is some stuff that you can read, for the most part there's a lot of binary stuff going on in here, right? So you see these this null things and so forth. Generally it's not meant to be read in this fashion. But nevertheless, so you get a sense that is how you can connect to a SQLite database from DBeaver and interact with it. So if you found us on the internet, then that's pretty much the end of the video for you. You know, if you have questions, etc., shoot something down in the comments. If you're in my class, you're going to have an assignment where you're going to kind of be playing around with SQLite, and in particular comparing how SQLite and MySQL differ in terms of how they handle dates. It turns out that even though we have a SQL standard, dates happen to be one of the things, and date handling happen to be one of the things that tends to vary among the different relational database systems and the different implementations of SQL. And so that's what you're going to be working on. So if you have any questions, issues, etc., hit me up on Piazza.